There is no question the world is becoming more and more entitled all of the time. We're seeing the results of that. Well, I'm Nicolene Peck. I'm a parenting expert, and in this video, I'm going to talk about how to raise grateful kids in an entitled world. In this video, we're going to talk about what entitlement looks like, and then I want to share with you 6 of the ways that you can improve the gratitude in your children's hearts and lives and lead them away from entitlement traps. So what does entitlement look like? Well, we're seeing it all around us. We are seeing children demand certain things of their parents. We're seeing citizens demand certain things of their lawmakers and of other citizens. We're seeing people get angry. We're seeing people get violent. We're seeing people get emotional. These are all products of entitlement or feeling like you deserve certain things. Now, doesn't mean that you can't take a stand for things and that you can't stick up for people who might need some help from time to time. But when a person feels entitled, they take things too far. That is one of the classic symptoms of feeling entitled. Now, you can feel entitlement for stuff, entitlement for privilege, entitlement for status, entitlement for treatment. You can expect that certain people will always treat you a certain way. That's called entitlement. And it ruins relationships, it ruins bonds and connections, and it creates islands. Every person is on their own little island, wondering what they don't have that somebody else has, or how they get treated versus how somebody else gets treated, instead of deciding how they can make the world a better place. Now that's what gratitude fosters. When a person is grateful, then that person is able to reach out and give goodness to other people. They have impact. That's what I always want my children to have. Impact for good in the world. So let's talk about how to do that. The first thing that you can do to raise grateful children in an entitled world is to make sure you know who you are. I know that sounds a little awkward, like, what? Of course I know who I am. Really? Do you know what it means to be mother? Do you know that the mother's role is to be the heart and hearthstone of her family? It's not her role to cook dinner or to drive so-and-so to practice. Anyone can do that. That's not being a mother. Being a mother is being that heart and that hearthstone, that person that they lean on, that they come to, that they learn from. A mother is a teacher. She's a nurturer. Mother is so much more than some of these arbitrary responsibilities that we attach to her. If you don't know who you are, how are you going to maintain your role? And maintaining your role means maintaining your parental authority. If you can maintain your parental authority, then your children's gratitude increases. Did you know that? If they are constantly in a state of manipulating you because you're not sure what it really means to be a mother of this child or what role a 15-year-old son has, then they're going to be manipulating you all the time. You will not be the leader that they need. When you are the leader, they find confidence, they follow you, they end up doing things a lot better, and they're grateful for it. It gives them security in their life. So to foster gratitude, number one thing, maintain family roles and parental authority so that you can do proper teaching for your child. Number 2, the children have to work. Work builds character. In fact, Samuel Smiles said in his book Character that work is the antidote for a sick character. You know, those farm boys are the ones that I always thought, oh, I want my daughter to marry a farm boy. Why do I want her to marry a farm boy? Because he'll provide for her, because he knows how to work. Okay, now I know not all farm boys are created equal. Somebody's laughing right now, and it's true, I've met some that didn't really do the title justice. But for the most part, those people who know how to work, they know how to tame the land. Those are the people that you know will have the confidence it takes to lead and to be with your child. So I teach my children to work. I teach them to tame the land in my yard. backyard and in my little farm that I have, I teach them to do everything that's required to maintain and run a house and to feed a family. My husband teaches the children how to fix all kinds of things. I've taught them a few things, but I'm not as good at the fix it. But he's pretty good, and so we teach them these things. That builds confidence in them. It helps them develop adult skills, and when they are confident and when they have skills, they're grateful for their life. They're grateful for their upbringing. They're grateful for you. Might get a little bit emotional here for a second, but some of the greatest glory minutes that a mother could ever have is when their child goes off to college or goes to live on their own and they say to their mother or their father, you know what? Thanks so much for teaching me how to work hard, because my roommates don't know how to do anything. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. It's like a pigsty. But I know all of this, and I know how to fix the drain. My daughter, who's 18, who just went to college, she's like, Mom, I have fixed the drain in our tub, in our apartment, and I have done... Why does she do all these things? Because her daddy taught her. Because her mama taught her. That instills gratitude. Good hard work. Number 3, love your family. Learn to love your family instead of just focusing on yourself. So if you're in a family environment, it should be anti-self. The world gives enough self-talk, Oh, follow what you want. You do you. Everything is about the self, the self, the self. It's no wonder we have entitlement problems. We are breeding selfishness in all of the marketing. It's all just about self. What if it's not about self? What if you were born to people? You couldn't even get here without a father and mother. That's a fact. So what if your life is actually about family instead? Well, when you value your family, when you learn to love your family, then you're grateful for people around you. That puts the focus away from self. If my children ever got too selfish, then I would always say, you know what? We're going to take time away from friends. We're going to take time away from digital devices, from TV, stuff like that. All those stimulating things that just feed the self and feed your feelings. And we're going to now put our focus back on these people that are around us and our family. And when we get those relationships going really good, then we'll start reaching out to other people and doing other things again. So I'm anti the self, and I'm very, very for the family and putting them first, because that creates a spirit of love, which also means gratitude. Talking about family and loving family, there's something that we do in the Teaching Self-Government Parenting model called creating a family vision. You can find a lot more about the Teaching Self-Government family vision creation in the Teaching Self-Government Parenting course. There's so many resources on teachingselfgovernment.com. Go there, learn about getting your family united together. I even have a whole book called Parenting a House United. Speaking of family, number 4 is serve others. Now, not just family. Of course, we're going to serve in our family, but we should serve others too. And parents have to set this example. When we serve other people, we learn to have a spirit of duty for our fellow men, which people call public virtue. And it is formed by having private virtue, right? By knowing that we need to have duty and we need to sacrifice for others, and that those are good things. Number 5, focus as a family on gaining attributes, not stuff. Society focuses on stuff like there is no end. I think people think their happiness comes from their possessions and from stuff. That is such a lie. It's such a wolf in sheep's clothing. Happiness comes from developing characteristics and attributes of being a good person, of having good character. So what type of attributes could you help your children form? Could you help them form understanding? Could you help them be persistent? What kind of characteristics are they going to need to be a great person in the future? When they develop attributes, it will take time, and it will take diligence, and it will take work again and again at refining themselves and governing themselves. This type of work brings honesty into the picture, and it makes them realize that the world doesn't revolve around them, that instead they are forming themselves and fitting themselves to bring something good to the world instead. Number 6, teach your children to disagree appropriately. So in the Teaching Self-Government Parenting course, we teach 4 basic skills for children. Number 1, following instructions. then accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. Disagreeing appropriately is their favorite skill because this is the skill that helps them get understood. This is also the skill that is the gateway to learning self-mastery and self-government. So it's a super important skill. Part of this skill is to seek to understand the other person. So my child might come to me and say, "Mom, may I disagree appropriately?" And I will say, "Yes." And then they will say, "Mom, I know that you don't want me to go out with my friends tonight." That's the seek to understand part. But then they're going to explain themselves and they're going to accept my decision. And there's a certain way we teach them to do that if it's not something that they like. This is all part of disagreeing appropriately. Seeking to understand other people. When you train a person to take time to understand others, then the world isn't all about themselves anymore. Speaking of skills for success, there are so many more skills that you could learn and that you could teach your children for self-government success. So you'll want to watch the next video, which is, what does self-government mean in parenting? This video is going to give you a lot more tips and skills that you can use to teach your family self-government, which will increase their gratitude and decrease that entitlement. Click on that movie now.